In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. You may be seated. Well, as he reflected upon what he had learned after spending 2 years in solitude in the woods beside Walden Pond, Henry David Thoreau mused that the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. Most men, he wrote, even in this comparatively free country, through mere ignorance and mistake, are so occupied with the fictitious cares and superfluously coarse labors of life that its finer fruits cannot be plucked by them. Their fingers, from excessive toil, are too clumsy and tremble too much for them. Men labor under a mistake, he pondered. The better part of the man is soon plowed into the soil for compost. See, Thoreau knew that work and labor were healthy and necessary. But he also knew that these activities could be so all-consuming as to rob mankind of the true treasures of this world. Jesus, in his tireless attempts to teach spiritual truths to those who most often were just looking for a miracle or a magic trick, comes back to the phrase on several occasions that we heard this morning: "He who has ears, let him hear." It's not enough to simply sit in audience to the greatest teacher if no absorption happens, if no truth is digested in the inner man. It's like seed thrown onto a rocky place. No matter the quality of the seed, no matter how much it's watered or how much sunlight it receives, if there's no rooting of it into fertile soil, no growth will happen. As I mentioned earlier, many of you may recall that we had all of a sudden spike in population in my family. My brother's wife, my sister-in-law, and my wife's sister, also my sister-in-law, gave birth within a few days of each other. In an effort to try and help Rachel, Jessica's sister, get a few hours of blessed, unbroken sleep that we all take for granted, by the way. We kept the baby Spencer last night. So if I look a little bleary-eyed, you know why. Having an infant in the house is all about learning to have patience under stress. Whereas a child of 3 months gives you some type of positive feedback, right? "Dad, Mom, you're doing a good job. I'm going to coo for you. I'm going to smile or give you one of those little baby chuckles." A baby that's just a few weeks old has 2 modes, right? Crying, not crying. On or off, red light or green light. That's it. Of course, it's been almost 5 years now since we've had an infant in our house. Sophia will turn 5 at the end of August. But as soon as baby Spencer arrived last night, we immediately switched back into that frantic parent mode that seems to come so naturally when you've got an infant in the house. Within 2 hours of Spencer arriving, I found myself standing in the bathroom in our apartment with the water running full blast because he seemed to like the sound and it's keeping him from crying. Now, mind you, by this time, after a little trial and error, I figured out that he only likes the sound of hot water running, not cold water. He can somehow tell the difference. So here we are, him and I, just hanging out in the bathroom. I'm rocking it back and forth, draining our hot water heater before anybody in the house is taking a shower for the evening. This is what being the parents of an infant is like. It can be stressful when all of your attention has to go towards this one thing, keeping a little human safe and content. It's pretty all-consuming. But this doesn't only apply to those who have babies in the house. How many of us get so caught up in the anxieties of our lives that we lose all grasp of what God is trying to do around us and in us? If we allow ourselves to be all consumed with our labors in this world, we run a real risk of losing out on the grace that God is offering in each precious moment of our lives. Grace is here. The seed has been thrown from the hand of the sower. But if the soil of our lives has grown too acidic from the anxieties of the world, we'll never know what God intended to grow in us in all those moments. I thought about God's grace last night, even in those moments when I'm trying to soothe this child. God, what are you teaching me in this moment? What do you want me to learn even in this frantic, few minutes? Maybe you've let the soil of your heart become untenable. Maybe you've let the ground dry up and the rocks and the weeds take over. Maybe you need to once again plow the ground to make way for the grace of God in our everyday moments. I ask you this, how has God revealed himself to you in the past? Maybe it's through the natural world. Maybe you feel most alive and spiritually fertile when taking a long walk in the quiet, in the woods, in solitude. Maybe it's through relationships. Maybe you feel most energized in the Spirit when encouraging and being encouraged by other believers. Thoreau knew that the labor of our lives can either result in distraction and anxiety or abundance, spiritual fulfillment. There is work that brings true contentment, a labor that brings genuine rest. The truth that I hope that we grasp this morning after digesting the Word of the Lord in these readings is that there is grace offered to us in each moment of our lives. Every moment, no matter how stressful or tiresome or mundane it may seem on the surface, every moment is an opportunity. A chance to hear from the Lord, to receive spiritual nourishment at His hand. An opportunity to truly receive a peace that passes understanding. Every day and each hour and each minute, whether you're sitting at a desk or running after your grandkids or cooking dinner, every moment the sower is waiting to cast his seed on the fertile ground of our hearts, to root down deep in our spirits and change us, even in the most everyday of circumstances. The grace that He offers brings true peace and lasting joy. The tranquility that can only spring forth from the hand of the Creator. So take this with you as you leave today. Every moment is an opportunity to experience the living presence of an ever-loving God. But our hearts have to be ready. We have to have ears to hear. Eat what is good, Isaiah says. Let your soul delight itself in abundance. May the grace of God root itself deep into our hearts, and may the fruit of peace and abundant life spring up from fertile ground. Amen.